over on the Western Conference.
Yeah, absolutely. And those are the games that really kind of sparkle now. I'll jump off the schedule at you, is when they play San Antonio, when they play Dallas, when they play Oklahoma City again. I mean, those are the games that you really look at as those sort of, let's see where we are. This is really sort of a report card type of game. Let's see how much the Cavs have progressed, how much they've improved, and take it from there. So you're right. I think maybe the first couple of weeks we really looked at Chicago and Boston and all those other sort of marquee matchups that we wanted to see where they stack up against the East, because that's the majority of their season, obviously. But yeah, I think the bloom is off that rose a little bit, and now it's like, okay, yeah, I think we know at this point they're going to be okay. They're going to be okay against the East. They've proven they can. They're going to be, if not the dominant team, then they're right up there, and they're going to be in that. They're going to go deep into the East playoffs at least. And now it's okay, yeah, let's see if they're really legit. They're going to start landing some haymakers against the Western Conference teams, and they haven't done that yet. So that's something to watch over the second half of the season for sure.
Absolutely. J-Rock here talking with Jonathan Knight, the sports writer extraordinaire. We'll get more at the end of the show. We'll get into the Cavs game. We'll preview New Orleans as they continue that road trip with the other half of a back-to-back here tonight. It'll be interesting to see if Kyrie plays too. But JK, let's shift over to the other topic of interest here this week. I don't know, some people. I saw this Fox map. They're changing the game. A whole lot more people in the country are going to be getting the Browns game this week. Apparently, they've made some adjustments on the roster. I know there's Ryan Seymour starting at center. People are fired up about that. And, and the football guy is going to be playing too, man. Johnny Football makes his debut this week. Obviously, we've talked about Manziel and where you are with him earlier, but he is the quarterback this week. The decision has been made. Browns and Bengals. And I've been joking, and I said before the show, or when we were coming on the air, I said, I'm going to talk to JK because you wrote the Browns Bible. And, I mean, you know Browns history in and out. There's definitely a few guys that have made their first coming of age against the Bengals. So, I mean, it's right there. Can the legend of number 2 begin against the Bengals, or the more likely scenario of it being a lot more down to earth? But where are you at here this week? Not just with him, but with the decision, how the Browns got here. We saw last week how things went, the game against the Colts, and now the transition here to John Manziel. Talk to me a bit about the last week for the Browns and where you're at with stuff.
Well, not surprising. I mean, it's really unfortunate. I still feel for Brian Hoyer. I think that he should be starting. I think he played himself out of it, for whatever reason, or you can blame whoever you want for that. But certainly his last really month has really been pretty bad. It really as bad as you could, as bad as he's played for the Browns, certainly. And everything that was working for him and then had made him successful over the previous year and a half was gone. So as much as you feel for him and maybe feel like on some level he got a raw deal, this is natural. I mean, this was going to happen sooner or later. And really, even without Hoyer starting the way he did, I think we all kind of felt like this was going to reach this point at some point in 2014. I'm surprised it lasted as long as it did, that we're sitting here 2 weeks before Christmas talking about Johnny Football's first start rather than 2 weeks before October, essentially. I think we all anticipated this would happen a lot sooner. So, yeah, and there is a strange history in some ways of not only the natural story you look at is Derek Anderson in 2007 coming out of really nowhere as the anointed starter, and you sort of expected, oh gosh, the Browns just traded their starting quarterback, and now they're going with Plan B. This is a train wreck. This whole season is ruined. And he leads them to 51 points in a thrilling victory over Cincinnati 7 years ago. So while, yes, I think that would be a little optimistic to be hoping for something like that, the Browns do have sort of a strange history, at least recently, of sort of new starting quarterbacks stepping into a role and exceeding right away, or at least having a good game right off the bat, which hasn't always reflected terribly well or continued for the rest of that season, the rest of their career. The other one that comes to mind that I'm actually kind of interested to see how it compares is Brady Quinn. If you remember when Brady Quinn first came in 2008, his first start, he was really great. I mean, he threw for over 300 yards. The Browns lost the game on a Thursday night to Denver that they should have won, but he played very well. And it looked like, wow, okay, yeah, maybe this kid has got it. and we've got something here. And clearly did not, as was the case really with Derek Anderson, I suppose, in the long run. But there's something to be said for that, and we've talked about this in the past, that there is sort of that with the baseball equivalent of throwing a minor league pitcher out for his first start and looking pretty good, primarily because the other team doesn't have tape on him, they've never seen him before, and if you come in there with a modicum of talent, you usually can fend for yourself, at least for that first start or those first couple of starts. And I think there's a parallel story there with NFL quarterbacks. So they don't really know what to expect with Johnny Football. You can watch all the college tape you want, or any kind of preseason, or the little flashes he's had here in the regular season. But I don't think there's enough there to really prepare for him or what the Browns are planning to use him for. So I will say this, and I'm on record as sort of being against this whole Johnny Football experience and drafting him in the first place. But however you think it's going to go, I just have the feeling that what we see Sunday might be the best we ever see of him, honestly. I think, and even if that's not to say he's going to play well,
no, I agree.
think that whatever happens, there's going to be a downhill, maybe not for the entire stay that he's in Cleveland, and it will continue to downward spiral, but I think that whatever he does Sunday, assuming he then starts the rest of the season, this is going to be the best that we see of him. I think this is going to be, once you start getting some tape and can prepare on him, then you're going to start to see some of those rookie aspects start to come in. So I think this is as good as we're going to get. So if he goes out there and has a Brandon Whedon type of experience where he throws 4 interceptions in his first start and essentially gift wraps the victory to the Bengals with a pretty little bow, the way Brandon Whedon did in 2012, then we're going to get in for some rough weeks ahead, because I think it's going to get rough after this week. So he's going to have a little bit of a grace period, I think, this week, because we don't know, or the Bengals at least aren't really sure what they're getting and how to prepare for it, and then it's going to get a lot harder, a lot faster.
You hit it on the head with the first thing that you said, and I'm kind of there. And I'm not talking about, I don't know where the future is going to go beyond this year, but what you said about you may see the best the first time out, and that's where I'm at, man, is that I think that there is an opportunity this weekend. There's so much of an opportunity, you guys are going to laugh at me, because I did this last week and I lost. So I'm gonna play that kid in one of my DraftKings, in one of my 1-week fantasy leagues here this week. I'm going to play Manziel, and I'm going to back it up with the Browns defense. I'm going to go out there and see what happens here, see if he can win me a couple $1,000. But anyways, just telling you guys, I have some fun with this thing. But yeah, man, seriously, all the joking aside, I think that whatever he can, I think he has an opportunity, and I think the Browns are thinking that too. I mean, people don't want to hear this. They don't want to hear it, but Brian Hoyer lost the starting quarterback job. That is the reality of it, and that's why that he's starting this week in the season where it is. I mean, that's the scary part to me. When everybody else wants to look at the A&M tapes, and everybody else wants to look at the highlights and talk about the draft pick, I think, yeah, but you guys have just spent 6 weeks pointing out to me how bad the quarterback play has gotten for the Browns, and they just sat there each week and said it's still better. It's still better than the alternative, and it took until now to get to it to not be better than the alternative. That is scary, but I do believe that what the Browns are hoping for is lightning in a bottle. They're hoping that they've got 3 games here where nobody's got tape, and they can go out here and steal a couple of these, and I actually believe that they can. I honestly believe that they can do that in this 3-game stretch. I brought it up yesterday, JK, or Wednesday, last time we were on the air. When you look at Kaepernick, Russell Wilson, and RG3, and you just look at their first 3 starts, it's starkly statistically greater than everything else that they've done. And that gives you an idea that you do have a couple of game opportunity there before defenses catch up, before the film's out there, before they realize, especially here, you're changing playbooks this late in the season. You should be able to surprise the Bengals. Just a month ago, they scouted you completely differently than how they're going to have to come at this one here. But so that gives you reason as a Browns fan to go, hey, they can do something here the last few weeks of the season, because they can, because I do think that there's an opportunity to take advantage of the element of surprise. But then once you go beyond that, I don't know. And the scary thing of that is the back part of what you just said was, if it's not that good, I still think it's as good as it can probably end up being. So that's a scary thing too.
Yeah, and we'll find out how scary it is on Sunday. If he comes out like Derek Anderson, or if he comes out like Brandon Wheaton. I mean, it depends on how that sort of premier game goes. So we'll see. The other factor too, I think, not only in terms of having not having tape on him, not knowing how to prepare, so you have that sort of advantage in your corner. But however you feel about Manziel, that this week and going into this game, as you mentioned right off the top, with increased television coverage and the visibility of this game, the attention about this game, there's going to be some energy. I mean, there's something different going on. This is special. Even if you hate Manziel, you have to admit that, wow, this is something different. There's going to be some energy in that stadium that wasn't there last week or 2 weeks ago. So there's that, and the players can feed off of that, and that's going to be up to the Browns to sort of take advantage of that. That there's a little bit of a different dynamic here that they can tap into and take advantage of. It's up to them. So yeah, I mean the setting is the table is set for them to do something, and like we said, I think last week, a couple weeks ago, I really think the Browns do have. At this point, mathematically, yes, they still have playoff hopes. If they win out, whatever. To me, they're in a situation where they've already done enough damage to themselves. They've really killed a lot of their tiebreaker chances. Do they still have a chance? Yes. But to me, it's like, okay, we're looking at this week to week. Let's play for pride. Let's finish strong. Let's set this up for next year. I think they've got one more bullet left in the chamber. I think they have one good game left in them. I hope it's this week. I mean, that would be the most satisfying. If they could win this week, regardless of, again, how you feel about Manziel, if they could win this week, sweep the Bengals for the first time in 12 years, and regardless of what happens those last 2 weeks, they clinch a non-losing record for the first time in 7 years, that would be big. I mean, if they're going to win one more game, I'd really hope that it's this week, and this is the one that they do pull out. But I think they got one more good performance left, and all the writing's on the wall. All the nicks and the fixins are there for this to be that game.
I'm telling you, you and I have brought it up before. Of course, we've shared the video that Metcalf hop, skip, and a jump to infamy against the Bengals on Monday Night Football. I said, hey, man, will there be a clip like that coming out of this game? Will he, juke three linebackers and stutter step into the end zone? I mean, even T-Rich had one really nice highlight touchdown early on against the Bengals, I believe it was, too. That one diving one into the end zone. That was the one, when you look at Madden football, that's the one highlight that they've got of him on the. I'm like, well, that's because it's the only one. But anyways, man, some people, the choices are less than others. But I mean, there is the chance that highlight video play comes out just as much. There's the chance that you get all the ups and downs with the rookies. I'm with you. It's the reason I said I'm not only playing Manziel, but I'm seriously playing the Browns defense, because I do expect. Look at how they played last week against the Colts offense. And I know the Colts are a dome team and it was outdoors and all of that, and Andrew Luck can make mistakes, but he can also be extremely great. And the Browns defense did a good job against a high-powered offense at home. And I think that energy that you mentioned is real. I don't even know if the whole locker room buys into the quarterback change, because I'm telling you, some of them don't. It doesn't matter. They buy into 80,000 people making them jacked up and charged up, and you will have that in the stadium this weekend. So, man, can you imagine that defense a little more fired up than they were last week, and against a team that they destroyed a month ago, and Cincinnati got rolled at home by Pittsburgh last week? I mean, there's the possibility for the Browns defense to put on a game for the ages here against the Bengals on Sunday, regardless of the quarterback.
And it may be the most anticipated game of the weekend in the NFL. I mean, if you look, there's so many eyes on this, primarily because of Manziel. But guys get up for that. I mean, regardless of what the stakes are, when you know you're on Monday Night Football, when you know that you're the number one game on Sunday afternoon, you get jacked up for that, regardless of how your season's gone, regardless of whether you're in the playoff chase or whatever. They get up for that. So, make no mistake, they're well aware that this is a big game, that a lot of people are going to be watching, that there's going to be a lot of coverage, a lot of talk about it, and we'll see how they respond. And so, so it's really going to be interesting. This is, again, I know they're still mathematically in this thing, but this feels like the Browns playoff game. Like this could be their Super Bowl. You always talk about that with teams that are, just playing out the season. There's usually one game late that you point to and say, this is where we go all out. We want to finish